Mr. Amarnath, thank you very much for your time, for joining us at EXCON 2023. We are in a very interestingly laid out pavilion of ARX. We're in the indoor halls. Can we start off with an update on your participation here at EXCON 2023? What are you trying to showcase? What are you trying to communicate to the industry?
Okay, ARX is a new company. We were just incorporated in March 2019, and by the time we recruited people and started designing and set up the factory, it was October 2020 when we started operations. So in the meantime, we had a huge activity of recruiting people, settling them down, installing SAP for the ERP system, working on the ISO certification for the processes. All this has been done. Apart from this, we've come out with a range of prototype motor graders. There are 4 of them. 3 of them are on the show. 1 more is under build. So it covers the whole gamut of motor grader requirements globally. We have a small 12-ton grader which is good. It handles a 10-foot moldboard or a 20-foot moldboard, which is good for village roads, highway shoulders, and light grading work for supermarkets and residential. Then we have the bulk production machines. The 17-ton grader will cover highways, roads, regular roads, airports. We have a 21-ton grader which is good for heavy road construction as well as your overburden coal mines. And then we have the biggest grader, 32-ton, which has a 16-foot or 18-foot moldboard, which is good for handling dumpers up to 240 tons. And larger than this, only one of our competitors has a 24-foot moldboard grader, which normally goes with 400-ton dumpers. We haven't come out with that yet. So apart from motor graders, we've also designed a blast hole drill, which will be part of the mining portfolio, because drilling open cast mine starts with a blast hole drill. So we have various requirements and we are flexible enough to customize to that. The base machine we've developed can drill 6 to 8 inches, and this is possible to drill 6 meters in single pass and can add on 3 more rods. But again, if anybody wants a single pass of a larger diameter for picking up speed, we can extend the derrick and customize for them. So the blast hole drill we've developed is very interesting. It's a combination of a conventional blast hole drill and a piling drill. So it can slew, so it can drill 3 holes from the same spot. It doesn't require stabilizers, it can do angle hole drilling. It has a side tilt arrangement for making vertical holes on a side slope. And you can add on a compressor of your choice, depending on the calculations you have for drilling your hole. And in addition to this, we are working on having an automatic monitoring of your depth and your grid pattern, which can be loaded from your office or from the site. This is in conjunction with Trimble, whom we also work with on the motor graders for the 3D automatic grading. What this does is it can take your drill up to the exact spot which the blasting engineer wanted, and once you finish the bore, it can compare with what is actually drilled, so that your quality of work is absolute.
Fantastic.
The same kind of arrangement is available for graders also, where you can have multiple graders running, and there are these transmitters which transmit through GPS the data for what the strata is like, and the blades and all will be automatically leveled, so you can have a semi-skilled operator driving forward and back. So you don't need to have highly skilled grader operator. Then on behind you will see the dust suppression machine. So this is a new addition in mining globally, where you are spraying a mist to a large distance. You have different machines for 60 meters, 80 meters, 100 meters, and on a truck which is moving. So typically on the mines, both the grader and these are support machines. The drill is a production machine. The grader and the other grader does haul road maintenance, wherein your life of dumper tires and suspension increases.
Right.
The dust suppression system improves the air quality on the haul road so that your filters don't choke up and your engine oil life is extended. So these are very critical to increasing the uptime of the motor, the dumper. So and in addition to the mining and the road machinery, what we also have is a range of cargo handling equipment. So we had tied up with Cargo Tech Palmar, and we bought up the Indical range of products. And with that, now we have a range of forklifts starting from 10 to 35 tons. We have empty handlers and empty container handlers, both of the forklift side lifter type and also the top lifter type. And we have a fully loaded reach stacker. So on the reach stacker, what we're working on is we've now increased the fuel efficiency by moving from a conventional power shift to a CVT drive. And the next step will be we will be going in for a hybrid where you have an electric motor and a battery which will be charged with a diesel engine. This is to cut operational costs and also keeping in line with the new pollution norms. And so that's a range, and all this has been done in 3.5 years. As we go forward, we will keep adding products to the mining portfolio and also to the metal handling portfolio.
I mean, so three segments that you operate in.
There are four actually.
Okay.
The fourth one is we are representing high. Actually, these are very specialized applications. You see, we are looking at tire handling for these large dumpers.
Yeah.
400-ton truck tire weighs 11.5 tons. 240-ton dumper tire weighs 3.5 tons. So if you have a puncture at a mine site, so one option we have is with a 35-ton forklift, you put an attachment. You need to move the forklift there and then you can handle the tire. In the case of HIAB, what we can do is you put it on a truck, the appropriate size according to what dumper you have. So the tire handle attachment fits on that, and then you can remove the tire and put it onto the truck and bring it back to the workshop for service. Apart from this, the cranes are also used in construction. A variety of applications, like even if you are just delivering hollow blocks or paving blocks. So you send one driver and these blocks are in bales. So he can just unload it himself and leave. You don't need any manpower for unloading. So HIAB also has a forklift, a small one, which hangs on to the back of your truck.
Okay.
So the same driver will down the tailboard, take down the forklift. It's called Moffat. It's a 3-wheeler forklift, and it goes around, and you can unload the material and put it in your customer's store, and you exit without touching the manpower. So you don't have to wait. The efficiency of the truck is much higher. In addition to all this, we are dealing with HIAB and FF for military applications,
Right.
where they have a lot of weapon loading systems. So HIAB has a lot of installations now already in India with the Indian Air Force. These are for loading weapons onto the Rafale fighters, and we are already servicing those for the Indian Air Force.
Okay. And just a quick clarification on this partnership with HIAB. You'll be like an exclusive partner for HIAB in India from now? Is that
Yes, we are already an exclusive partner for government business operations, which is military, defense, and the others.
Okay.
And because those are designed on a case-to-case basis, so everything has to. There are lots of emission norms. There are lots of electromagnetic induction norms, and you can't have. You need to conceal the crane, so you have black piston rods. You see, otherwise you see shiny piston rods everywhere.
Right.
And HIAB has a huge range, and they've got supplies to the US and other armies, a lot of certificates. The other part of the HIAB range is very large cranes, which can also do railway work. They've done one for the Danish railways where the crane is on a huge Scania truck, but also has a trolley which comes down. So the truck will get lifted and you can pull it with a train.
Amazing.
And then there are outriggers. So when you press down the outriggers, you lift the whole vehicle and you can switch tracks yourself, because the outrigger goes beyond the second railway line and you can switch to another track and go on. So railway work is very useful for quick maintenance, picking up, recovery and other work.
Amazing. Very interesting. Right. So you started off by saying you're a relatively new brand. And if I understand right, you're probably one of the newest brands here, CE brands here at the show, if not the newest, right? So, being a new kid in the block, what challenges do you think you have to overcome? Plus, what advantages do you think you have? It's always a mix of both.
So challenges typically would be acceptability normally for a new brand. People want to know whether you last, whether you have the holding power, because earth moving, construction, mining is typically a very capital intensive business. So we have our partners Apex has been in high end steel fabrication for the construction mining industry for 25 years. We are a new brand, but I've been in this business for more than 35 years. So we know most of the customers personally, and we have some very good credibility as far as our reputation is concerned in handling work at sites directly. So we're very hands-on people. The advantages of being a new brand is we have fresh blood, and they have no hang-ups. They don't come and tell you that this is how you can't do things. They're always willing to try, and we do get very fast. It's a huge advantage. And as far as setting up dealerships and service and all is concerned, in any brand, it's not viable to have a dealer from day one, because firstly you don't have the sale volume for him to sustain his business. Now and the machines, you don't know where they go. Even if you sell a grader today to a customer in X location, the chances of him continuously doing road projects in that same place is zero.
Very easy.
He will keep moving it around, maybe out of the country here. So our philosophy is very simple. For every 3 or 4 machines, we station a service engineer at site.
Okay.
At our cost. So when you're a new brand, you also got to keep monitoring the machine. It's not a matter of just repairing what's broken,
Correct.
like what other people do. You need to get data out. You need to watch what is there, see what is wearing out a little earlier than expected, and other stuff. As far as data is concerned, we do have telematics on board, and this gets out a lot of parameters. There's a lot of electronics on the machine. We have controllers on the transmission, the engine, the vehicle controller, the pump controller. So all this continuously comes through a box and is relayed to the plant. So we have a OEM view, you have a dealer view, and you have a end customer view. With this data, apart from this, we also have electronics, like on the stacker you have a load moment indicator, which makes sure that the machine is stable and you cannot push it into an unstable condition, which is electronically protected. Like I explained earlier about the tribble stuff on the grader, that's the second level of electronics.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about is there's a lot of talk about the potential of the Indian market, right? And we're hearing this not just from people in India, also from people from across the globe, especially in this exhibition. What is your take on the potential of the Indian market, especially considering the infra development that's happening, the push from the government side? What is the kind of potential you see? And as a strategy for ARX, on a realistic level, what is your strategy for growth? What kind of I don't want to go into market share numbers, but what kind of a position do you expect to capture in the market?
See, in India, you can go as far as you can see. It's very simple. So when you ask what your target is and all, see, essentially when you start off any business, you're looking at some business size. There are hundreds of fields. If you look at your defense, you have an annual defense budget of 240 lakh crore. You look at the infra spend on roads and construction, it is 45% of the national budget goes out on that. So I'm not talking about those figures. Now you want to go to 100 crore, 200 crore, 300 crore, 400 crore, the sky is the limit. So what you got to do is ensure that you've got good products, and that is, the demand will always be there. We started with a very low baseline of infrastructure. Indians accept bad infra from the past days. It's not that infra in Bangalore is bad. If you look at, I came to Bangalore 51 years ago. when I was in second grade. The chief ministers in those days had more vision because some of the roads they built in 1965, like the one which goes past my house in Whitefield, where the ITPL is, that was built in the 70s. And those days there was no traffic. So everybody would wonder why they built a 2-lane road. So I could cycle. I have cycled in the middle of MG Road, Dublin Road. Nobody honks. There's enough place to pass. Keeping all that in mind, you will see that many of the new flyovers are only 2-lane or 3-lane, which is you look at this elevated road which comes to the exhibition. That should have been a 6 or 8-lane road because you're going to Bombay. So foresight is something we didn't have. Correcting is possible. If you look at the way the city has changed, you look at the airport, it's world class. They're building metros, but you cannot keep up with the demand. So why is the influx so high? If you go to Germany, you can go to a small village and find a huge factory. Okay, and this factory, like for example, if you are driving to where ZF is, it's a 166-kilometer drive which takes 48 minutes. On the way, you will pass a BMW factory in a very small village from where all the 5 Series cars come. And so it's not that everybody came running to that village to work, because in every village there are some big companies. Whereas we go the wrong way and try to pump everything into the cities, and you are actually sitting in the middle of, I think, civilization's largest migration. Because when you look at when I was setting up the Valvoil factory in 2005, 70% of the population was rural. Today, it's dropped by 20%. So it's come down to 50. So 20% of 1 billion is maybe 4 times the population of Italy. So, unless you move opportunity to small villages and cities, you're going to have abnormally large megapolises which cannot handle waste handling and other stuff. And the traffic. The average traffic speed in Bangalore today is just 18 kilometers per hour. When it comes down to 6, that will be the speed at which people walk on the treadmill. So, we need to look at those examples and understand how to push opportunity right. So one of the biggest drawbacks is skill, exposure. Those you don't get in the small villages and towns. So taking this out there is the challenge. And Wipro has done very good work in this regard. They've started that university where they're training the teachers so that the quality of education improves it's a very noble thing to do. And training is not just a 1 week affair, because most of you went to school and even after 10-15 years you don't remember anything. So doing it in 1 session or 2 sessions is not going to help. That's just lip service to saying you do training. Actual, and if you look at Germany again, they have a system where if you want to become an electrician, you train under a master technician for a year, then you do as an apprentice, then you do a certification, and then you become an electrician. Here any Tom, Dick and Harry can become an electrician or a plumber or something, so the quality of work improves after he makes many mistakes in different places. So these things have a long way to go. So the sky is the limit as far as what you want to earn in terms of any line of business can be profitable if you do it properly.
So very, very unique answer and very, very practical as well, I would feel. Couple of last things that I'd like to ask you. Make in India, you're making your products in India. What about export potential? I know it's a little early, but over the long term, what will your target be?
See, our machines are spec in line with requirements of what is required for mining globally. So it's not just for our market or any stripped down version. All the cabins are from Torino, Italy, and they're top of the line as far as ergonomics and comfort is concerned. We have a product line which is fit for any place. The only thing you need to tinker around with are the emission levels, because some places have lagging emission norms and some have a little ahead. So if you can do that, but you need to understand that most of the development is happening here in China, in growing economies. You can't go rebuild New York, for example. It doesn't need to, or in Europe your work would be limited. For mining, the mining regions like Africa, West Africa, South Africa, and Chile, Australia, those are huge potential places.
Amazing. The last one, 2024 as a year, what are your goals and targets for the year?
Ours is a company which I told you is brand new, so setting targets in terms of percentage really doesn't have meaning. You could end up with even 100% growth, and all. It doesn't really mean anything till you hit maturity. Then the numbers will plane out. Then it makes sense to calculate growth and things. We have a huge order book till next August, so we are very well set. We are not looking to become number one overnight. We are looking to build up very high-end products and sell them to select customers who understand what value we deliver. Not just give the machine to anyone and
Right. Just taking a cue from what you said, maturity. How do you define that maturity? Would you be able to quantify that in any way?
maturity is when your numbers flatten out. When you stop saying you cannot go 100% forever.
Right, right.
So, the market growth is 26%. That's what we call organic growth. So if you are just doing nothing, you will grow 26%. If you are growing 50%, you are ahead of the curve. But you may not have hit that. Look, if I sell 2 machines this year and 6 machines this year, I can tell you I sold 6 and people will laugh. Or I can tell you I had 300% growth and you feel impressed. So statistics is very easy to play around with. But what I'm talking about is, once you get a specific market share, and then you, instead of trying to, outdo the market share, it's easier to spread your area and retain the same market share. You still ramp up numbers.